If I was to list off some optional extras such as heated seats, heated steering wheel, memory setting seats, an automatic boot lid, adaptive cruise control and an upgraded sound system, what car springs to mind? Well, how about the KIA X-CEED? It's a pretty horrible day today, so I'm not going to do much filming outside. But if you haven't been to my channel before, this is Auto Social UK and my name's Tish. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like this video if you've enjoyed it and also subscribe to my channel. I'm becoming a bit of a family SUV connoisseur, and here is the KIA X-CEED. This has been around for about a month, released in late September, and it's the third addition to the KIA CEED family, from the CEED, the Pro CEED and now the X-CEED. The X-CEED that I've been lucky enough to be driving is one of the first edition X-CEEDs, and they sit at the absolute top spec of the range, from just under £30,000. But what you get included is absolutely massive. If you're not to go to the first edition, then there are also well-spec'd lower equivalents that come in the Model 2 and the Model 3. Okay, that is just about as much as I could take of the wet and the wind. I hate the winter, but I'm inside the KIA X-CEED and it's a really nice place to be. It's comfortable, it feels plush, it feels expensive, and then on the first edition you also have the insets of this yellow, which make it feel a little bit funky as well. So let's take a quick minute to talk about the spec that you get on the first edition KIA X-CEED, and it's enormous. They really have thought of everything. In fact, it probably would be easier if I quickly ran through what spec it didn't have, but I will just go through things. So on the steering wheel, you've got your adaptive cruise control, you've got all of your voice control, all of your hands-free for your mobile phone. You've got automatic lights, automatic wipers, you've also got automatic high beam assist as well. So when you're lucky enough to drive as many new cars as I do, you learn what you enjoy and what specification you like. Now, an absolute top of the list for me has to be heated seats. It's an absolute must for any car that I'm going to own. Now, KIA have just taken that one step further. So on the first edition, not only do you have front heated seats for yourself and your passenger, there's also heated seats in the rear as well, and a heated steering wheel. So it's going to be so comfortable in those winter months. So let's talk about what is undoubtedly the first thing you notice when you get into the KIA X-CEED, and that is this massive 10-inch infotainment system. Now, it is slightly smaller on the lower models, but here it's absolutely amazing and it's really easy to use and customizable. So at the moment I've got it on the home screen, which you can change what you have on your home screen. So at the moment I've got my maps, my Apple CarPlay and also some trip information as well. But if you did want to edit the home widgets, then all you'd have to do is just drag the weather across and replace it on there. So it's really great, and you can change it depending on what you find the most helpful with your car. So Apple CarPlay is standard on this, and because of the size of the screen, it really is easy to use and it looks great. You do actually only have one gripe with this, and it's just found that because of where these buttons are situated, sometimes when you're driving and you're using the infotainment system, I sometimes use this to steady my hand, and the only thing I've found is occasionally I either lock the doors or I put my hazards on, but then I think maybe that's a user preference. I don't think that would be something that everybody would find to be an issue, and to be honest, it isn't that much of an issue either. But overall, this screen is absolutely fantastic, and I can't believe that it's standard on this first
first edition. Obviously it probably is going to be a little less prominent in the models prior to it, with the slightly smaller screens, but overall everything is really good and easy to use.
Inside does feel super high quality. There's a really good mix of some soft feel materials, you've got some leathers and also some chrome detailing as well. On top of that 10-inch infotainment system, you've also got a 12-inch digital dash, standard on the first edition or an option on some of the others. If you pop it into sport mode, then that will change your dial slightly and it does make you feel like you are in a sportier car. Now I do know that I like to sit down low, but even in this car the lowest setting doesn't feel particularly low, and I haven't got a huge amount of headroom considering I'm pretty small and this car seat is as low as it would go. If I pop it up, my head literally practically touches the roof, so I can't imagine what it would be like if you was about 6 feet tall, although I'm sure as well once you go back a bit it does give you a bit more room, but then it's not going to leave you much leg room for anybody in the rear, so this possibly isn't set up for taller people. However, on the subject of the seats, they do have 2 sets of memory settings on these seats, which is brilliant, and they are full electric. I also really like that no matter where you have your seat, when you pop the car off and open the door, it does pull your car seat back for you, so that it's easier for you to get out. So the Kia does come standard with a reversing camera, which is brilliant for visibility. The only thing that I would note is that a lot of car brands nowadays are tucking their rear cameras into badges and keeping them dry. However, on the Kia, because it is still exposed to the elements, occasionally at night or when it's raining it can get a little bit foggy and it's a little bit difficult to use, but overall it's really nice to have.
Perhaps the biggest difference between the regular CEED hatchback and the X-CEED is the X-CEED has a noticeably larger boot, up to 31 litres to 426 litres. You also get some handy hooks, plenty of space and even a spare wheel, which is quite rare nowadays.
So there's a few different engine options, including petrols and diesels, and then later on in the year or through to 2020 we should be seeing some hybrid options as well, which will be pretty cool. The car that I have is probably the pick of the bunch, so it's the 1.4 turbocharged engine which produces 140 brake horsepower. It's also paired to the 7-speed automatic box, which is really smooth and a really nice combination of engine and gearbox. In terms of power, there's definitely nothing to complain about from the 1.4 litre engine. The only thing I would say is in normal mode, when you do stick your foot down, it can be slightly delayed to pick up speed. However, the Kia X-CEED does have a sport button. Now sometimes in other models when you hit the sport button it doesn't tend to really make too much of a difference. However, in the X-CEED it really makes an instant difference to the performance of this car. It doesn't make too bad of a noise either. But that does lead me on to one small issue with this car. Something seems to be missing. It does seem a real shame to have a car which has a lippy engine, a sport button and a nice interactive digital dash, but then no manual pedals. You do have the option to push across the gear stick and use it manually like that, but it kind of takes the fun away a little bit. The X-CEED is overall a pleasure to drive. It is really smooth and super comfortable, and if it wasn't a day like today I would be explaining to you how it's also very, very quiet, but we seem to have been caught in torrential rain, so nothing's going to make that sound quiet. But overall, when you're not driving in rain, it is a really quiet car. Because of its target audience, SUVs tend to get quite a lot of safety spec as standard, and the Kia is no exception. This car that I'm driving today has front assist, lane assist, adaptive cruise control and blind spot detection. £30,000 might sound quite a lot for a Kia, but when you take into consideration how much specification this car has, then it really starts to sound quite reasonable. Also, if you was to go for the Model 2 Kia X-CEED, then you're looking at starting from around the £20,000 mark, so it's much more reasonable. All that taken into consideration, you could be driving a Model 2 Kia X-CEED for as little as £189 a month, which in my personal opinion is brilliant. If you wanted any more information on the Kia X-CEED or wanted to find out how much one of these will cost you, then why not give Donald's Kia in Bury St Edmunds a call? I'll pop their details below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video on the Kia X-CEED. A massive thank you to Donald Group Kia in Bury St Edmunds for lending me the car. If you do like watching these types of reviews on new cars, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks, bye!